we did was to do it. We did it because we were basing our sacrifice on a better life for the people of Zimbabwe. People don't go to fight to war for leaders. People don't go to fight for flags. People don't go to fight for political parties. Achievements as a people, but you are being given all sort of mystical nonsense. Je m'ashukiro, je m'aprofita, this war was based on science. It was a people's war.
And you remember, just a day before, I spoke about the divisions in ZANU-PF concerning this Bill 3, because the structures of ZANU-PF were not consulted, so the constitution of ZANU-PF was completely destroyed.
Most of the issues about tribal, they come from the police clique. It's known throughout the war for having a clique. Basically, the was society. That's the clique which has been causing tribal divisions within the party. That is the clique. And I know because I'm a victim of that. Because they were the wrong name of Mutsvangwa. Because they think I come from Chief Mutsvangwa and Chipini. I want to tell the president that if he wants to start talking about tribalism and mentioning regions, charity begins at home. He should. That's why Tongo Garaneba wanted to take the Shamarira in the political view.
I have always acknowledged, yes, Chiwenga is a senior war veteran. He's a senior war veteran. He saw most of these things, but what he baffles me is that he forgets about the people that he worked with and recognizing Mutsvangwa. Ndakamtaurira Chiwenga kuti zvauri kuita izvi vanhu hauvazive vatsva vachakunetsa mangwana, particularly Mutsvangwa. I told him the Chiwenga face to face.
Zimbabwe muri kuzviona sei, oh, shall remain. Yours truly miss a one blow. Foolish government, yeah, me raspi. Urumende yemageva, akatumira mbava. Urumende yemageva, tiri kutongwa netoti. Yemesonuri geva, takatumira mbava, geva. Matoti, urumende yembava. Tiri kutongwa negeva mbava. Toti, takatumira. From bad to worse, tishiva kuna baba bona. Unogona wona.
What we did was to do it. We did it because we were basing our sacrifice on a better life for the people of Zimbabwe. People don't go to fight to war for leaders. People don't go to fight for flags. People don't go to fight for political parties. Achievements as a people, but you are being given all sort of mystical nonsense. Je m'ashukiro, je m'aprofita, this war was based on science. It was a people's war. Proper class analysis. And the president gets old. These things should have been passed on to the younger generation, but there is a gap. It shall go to the children of the war veterans in their entirety. And because this war was fought in every village has got a war veteran who is either there, or the children are there, or the collaborators are there. We are now telling them to start campaigning. I want to salute again those comrades who we talked about. But I also want to hail a particular section of the war veterans from 1973 to 1974, particularly the Mnangagwa group, the one which made it possible to change leadership outside of Salisbury for the first time, which marked the shift that the liberation struggle was succeeding. Before leadership was being decided in Salisbury, now it was decided in a military camp. That's how President Mugabe ends up as the president of Zimbabwe. It started at Mnangagwa. Don't listen to him to say he started from anywhere. It's not true. He went to Lusaka in 1974, trying to sign the unit accord. Was kicked away. He was there. He came back with his tail between his legs. They couldn't accept him. Only when we made a decision, those who were in the war, to say he's the leader, that's how he became the leader. That generation of young fighters from 74, particularly the Mnangagwa Declaration, they went on to form ZIPA. The ZIPA is one which resumed the war which the Rhodesians had stopped. The ZIPA is the one which united ZIPA and ZANLA forces to come together and start the offensive from Mozambique. I know I was there. The president was not part of that team at that time. It was done only by the military boys from both sides. Mangena, Zino, and a lot of others. Those are the people who resumed the struggle, the Valerio Spanders. That is the generation which includes Chile. That is the generation which includes Chiwenga and many others. These are some of them are here. These are the heroes of the Zimbabwe revolution. Those guys from Mnangagwa. We are being told, Mazezulu Mchatonga Watuwesh, songs being made by the National Political Commissar, Mazezulu Mchatonga, frivolous items which divide the people. We never did that during the war. We gave them the message of unity. That's what we did. That's what we stand for. And that's the message which we are going to be taking to the people. They can remain with their messages of parochial ideas about, tribalism. Hey, Vekuma Shingo. Hey, Vekuma Shingo. Hey, that's not language which we know. It doesn't exist to us as war veterans. And incidentally, I want to tell you something about this thing is tribalism. I have been consistently a victim of tribalism. Starting in 1979, when I was coming back to campaign, I was removed from the team initially from Maputo by Nathan Shamyarira and Webster Shamu. Because my name is Mutsvangwa, they thought I came from Chipili. So I was removed from the team. When we opened Linkwenda House after independence, Minister Shamyarira was told that I am from Chipingi once again. I couldn't get a job. Justin Yoka came, the late journalist, to tell me that, Mazezulu Makapusa Stene. Urukula kwa chukua mwamu mkiukula wapi kwa basa yewa nyimu wakaenda tuzo manya kuna mzenda. Anduka achipana Mazezulu, iwo Mzezulu wanyimu. I was so frustrated. Wadi kwenda kwa president Mzezulu. Anasha Shamyarira wakunyima Mzezulu. I said, I will never go to stoop so low to go and ask for a job from the president because I'm Zezulu. Anyway, I discovered that I am Zezulu from Mondoro, his home area. I was his daddy. He loved me. In Namibia. He was, you see, tribalism. I'm getting married. He now loved me. He even wanted me to become the Director General of the ZPC. Unfortunately, he was changed as a minister. He became Foreign Affairs. So another minister, Maichi Tepo, came. Then the Zezulu Committee of 26, that's what I'm getting at. The Zezulu Committee of 26. They organized John Simba, who was claiming to be a doctor in the CEO, to stop me from going there because I'm Manika from Chipingi. It had come back again. So I was told. Until Maichi Tepo says, well, I'm the minister from Manika, and if he's Manika from Chipingi, let him go. So I was eventually ended up at ZPC. You see the petty tribalism which is going on? The president alluded to it the other day because that's what he did with Chimoyo. He was fixing the leadership on tribal lines. We on the front, we didn't do that. We never asked ourselves on tribal lines. We couldn't fight on tribal lines. I went to ZPC, but the Committee of 26 could not forgive me. And you know who comes to help me to go to ZPC at that time? None other than Ignatius Chombo. He is coming from university in America. He was done. He couldn't pass all level at Kutama. His father, no matter how much his father tried, he was influential with the father, the married brothers. He could simply not cross the line of it. So he had to eventually end up as a teacher rather than what his father aspired to be, a primary school teacher. Later I see him coming back from the war. He is now coming to my house. Because he has been to Parkland Hotel here, where the Committee of 26 Zezulus was meeting. And he had said, can you induct me into your committee? because I'm also Zulu. And I can also bring you some clever people from the war who are Zulu in Chamba. So he comes to my house to recruit me to come and join the committee of 26. He says, I can tell them that you are Zulu, you know, they are mistaken, they think you are Manika. That's Chombo. I said, Chombo, leave my house. You didn't even go, you didn't have the courage to go to the war. Now you are trying to tell me the reactionary ideas, the retrogressive ideas. I don't want to do it. This is fact. What am I getting at? Most of the issues about tribal, they come from the Frolisi clique. It's known throughout the war for having a clique. Basically, the was society. That's the clique which has been causing tribal divisions within the party. That is the clique. And I know because I'm Zulu and I'm a victim of that. Because they have the wrong name Mutsvangwa. Because they think I come from Chief Mutsvangwa and Chipingi. I want to tell the president that if he wants to start talking about tribalism and mentioning regions, charity begins at home. That's why Tongo Garaneba wanted to take Shamarira in the political bureau. He never wanted Shamarira in the political bureau. He only became a member of the leadership after the war when Tongo Garaneba died. Because Tongo Garaneba started fighting against Chitepo even as far back as 1956 on behalf of parochial regional India. The whole caricatures of poverty. Tambo safe in this origin. When we export people, everybody who is born wants to get a passport to run away. Every young person's aspiration is to live for greener pastures abroad. You want those people back in power? So they fail to deliver economy. Two, they're tribalists. So we will not tolerate tribalism in this country. Regionalism, we will not. That's their second biggest thing. Third is corruption. They can't build anything. I told you, they've never cut a ribbon for infrastructure. They've never been to the capital market to build it. They can't talk to relate businessmen all over the world. They take the rich economy which is there, until the economy is nothing. They don't make any tax returns about their business interests. Now, we never knew that there was a first family to fight for. Whether it was Bomo's first family, or Mugabe's first family. We did not know that there was a first family. And if they told the comrades that they were fighting for the first family, they were offering their voluntary lives. We were not paid. We were doing it because we love the country. Nobody would have fought because for me, the first family is my mother and my father. Not anybody else. Now there's this new talk, first family. It's nonsense. It doesn't exist. That house there, across the road, is called the Parliament of Zimbabwe. The only thing which matters comes from that house. That's where you read, you find your place in the socio-economic milieu of Zimbabwe, political milieu of Zimbabwe, in what the documents from that house says. Anything which you derogate yourself in the street, we don't care about it. I prefer the issue there is that the Zulus of South Africa, they've put Zuma, they are determined to make sure that another Zulu person comes, and then afterwards another Zulu, because they want to revive the kingdom of Jack. That's what is the issue in South Africa. Now, in the sub-region, the only other big tribe which can be a counterweight to the imperial Zulus are the Shonas of Zimbabwe. So we have to unite with the Shonas. And our candidate there is Ramaphosa, because he's Venda Soto. He's near us. So the Sotos and the Shonas, they unite in a big alliance against encroaching Zulu, Nguni, imperialism. This is in cabinet. I'm a revolutionary. I was with the ANC guys in Tanzania. When the ANC guys in Zambia. We fought Unkondo Sizwe and Zipra and Wanke as one people, never asking where. Now we are being told these tales of tribalism from a young man and his national political commissar.
That one a video Mutsvangwa. Partly is very true what he's saying. If you recall, Nyaya Bata from 19 73 kuchienda uko ndakaitaura pano kuti ende nyaya yezipa. I'm glad he's mentioning that, and he's also mentioning that he does not remember Mnangagwa anga aripo, because Mnangagwa from 1972 up to 1976 anga asimo muhondo.
Alright.
Ndofunga ndakazvitaura pano kuti when he was released from prison in 1972 akaenda kunoshanda kuZambia achishanda nemagwetawo. He was only spotted, or he was only brought back to the struggle in Namgabe in 1976. And nyaya tribalism, I think I've spoken about that. Maybe vanoterera kama video aya. But nenge shtaura vanenge vakaterera. Then they ran kuti let us not be exposed. Oh my. Vanozviterera. Tribalism ari kutaura kuti ningiri makaranga, you can see Mnangagwa anga akataswa ningiri. Ningiri akataswa mumazezuru. And I think I spoke about that at length. Kuti Mnangagwa, he wrote on the back of the Zulu people during the war and now. And Guti Tongokara didn't want Mugabe is true. Because Shamyarira was just coming from Frolis. Yet he joined Chikerem. So he didn't want Tongokara, he didn't want them. But the war was between Manika and Makaranga. Then later it became now it is now between Karanga and Mazezuru. Manika are not in place. And for the first time to hear Mutsvangwa saying he comes from Mazezuru. And this is the first time I'm hearing about that. I know him to be coming from the Mutsvangwa clan in Manicaland, and we've known him to be a Manika. But because he was not his father, maybe he went to pastor somewhere in Mashonaland West. But after independence, he was in Manicaland, to my knowledge. But now he says they thought he's the Manika. Yes, the Mutsvangwa family comes from Manicaland. So him is in Mashonaland West. Kunana Zimbabwe. And that's why in your minds on the politics and that's a cool here. Mashonaland West in the Popagachwa. So when he is now talking about the first family, Utaguna Chinonzi first family, yes, we did not have that during the war. The Zumbes we are first family. Yes, partly what he's saying is true, and I think I've dealt with that in different, many different platforms talking about that. So what does this mean now? It means Mnangagwa is now in trouble, a very serious problem. And you remember just a day before, I spoke about the divisions in ZANU-PF concerning this Bill 3. Because the structures of ZANU-PF were not consulted, so the constitution of ZANU-PF was completely destroyed. And this is where now he comes in to say there is no first family, because in the constitution there's no first family. The president is elected at Congress. is first of all, my provinces, they nominate him as a member of the Central Committee. So he has to be nominated by at least the 6 provinces. So that's what Mutsvangwa is talking about. So you can't skip 27 because you have elected yourself. I think this is what he's referring to. So he's partly right what he's saying. He's partly right, and I'm glad he admits that during Zipa and before Zipa he was not there. He himself, he acknowledges that what we did in Zipa, because I was part of Zipa. So it confirms what I always say here. People might think I'm exaggerating or I want to make myself an encyclopedia, but no, I'll be telling the truth. I don't tell what I did not see. I tell what I saw. That has always been my understanding. Yeah. The situation now, you can see now he says we cannot be told by a young man the name of Commissar is hitting on the Machacha now. And he's also hitting that the group of that he went to, that he is admiring is the group in Mnangagwa. I told you, I said this to the nation, that the people who were responsible for the writing of that document were the Zulu people. That was the Chiwenga and the parents Shiri, Zimondi, and the Augustine Shiuri. Those were the people who had just joined the armed struggle, and they were coming from the Zulu, so they found that war, and they decided to remove Ndawaneng's toll. That is true, and I think I've said this several times. I have always acknowledged, yes, Chiwenga is a senior war veteran. He's a senior war veteran. He saw most of these things, but what he baffles me is that he forgets about the people that he worked with, and recognizing Mutsvangwa. Ndakamtaurira Chiwenga kuti zvauri kuita izvi vanhu hauvazive vatsva vachakunetsa mangwana, particularly Mutsvangwa. I told him the Chiwenga face to face. So that's it. I think he is opening up, and is opening a can of worms. Is now siding with the Zipa structure, which says the people you see them talking here were not there. Zipa played a very pivotal role in uniting the two liberation movements, and they remained so up to 1980s. You remember when there was Gukuraunda, he did come here into these spaces to say, we, the war veterans, formed the War Veterans Association at the highest of the Gukuraunda, which tells you that the proper Zanda forces did not participate in the Gukuraunda. It was only the Mjipas and those militia who were recruited by Mnangagwa and the Mugabe. Those are the people who executed the Gukuraunda thing. But otherwise, most of the Zanda cadres were together. We formed together the War Veterans Association. The War Veterans Association was initiated by the entire of War Veteran grouping, both from Zanda and Zipra. We did not have were not led by anyone. It was the initiative of those war veterans who fought, particularly those who were in Zipa. Those are the people who understood where we came from. Now the Zimbabwe National Liberation War veterans is led by people who were not there, the children of the war veterans. And he hit much on that, and I think he's referring to Sifas Ngube. When you look at Sifas Ngube's age and Mahia's age, then it tells you, at that time they were children, so they were not part of the armed struggle. They are only coming now. Mahia, when he got married, he was 60 years, telling you that at the time he was 15, during the war he was 15 years. So he might have gone there as a child in the 74 or 79 or 77, thereabout. But because if he had gone in 1974, 75, like Ivana Chiwenga, at that time he would be about 4 years. So he was on his mother's back. So he would not been trained at that age. Sifas Ngube also, it tells you Jason Zeapapa Moyo School. Yevana, we had a camp for the children. Those were underage were staying at JZ. So he cannot claim to be a war veteran. But yes, he's a war veteran because he did cross the Zambezi River, that's not enough. Yeah. So I think I agree